All right. Let me see what's happening. All resources. Okay. What's happening here? Let me check. Can someone go to YouTube and see if there is a live feed, please? It is? All right. Shalom, everyone. And welcome. This is Chazak Aliyahu Yasharal. For those on YouTube, this might be a little strange. I'm just testing out our morning teaching. It's not on Facebook though. Okay. All right, so let's see what's happening on Facebook. Yeah. It should be on. Don't know if it's on my personal channel. But anyway, we have it on YouTube. Let me see how it works out. Today we continue in the books of the Natsarim and the Enlightened ones. And that book has been proven to be a barakah, a blessing for us here. And we continue to share it with our viewers, first time sharing live on YouTube. And you can download the books of the Natsarim and the Enlightened ones from our website at justaword.org/downloads, or you can go to our website, justaword.org, click on the menu and go to the downloads page, and you can follow with us, okay? So, let's go. We were at chapter 10, and I think we are at verse 28. I think, if my memory serves me well, it's sticking. Oh, all right. So let me get rid of some of these. The one that I need to get rid of. All right. I don't know why it is sticking. The internet might not be so good. Let me try to place it somewhere else. Anyway, let's see how it goes right now. Yeah, so we were at verse 28. Go ahead, please. Chapter 10, page 104. It's easier to find it from the page 104.
Know that, though I am here with you, I am not apart from he who inspires me. That which is in me is not separate from the Ruach of the Father, and that Ruach is wholly in me. I express the likeness of the Father, and contain his power and substance to the full measure. I am the Ruach outflowing from Yahuwah, given voice and form. I am the voice and word of that Ruach. I am of that Ruach, but not that Ruach.
No, there has been a debate. There has been a debate. I think I should try and record this thing. Just in case. Let me start recording it. All right. Okay, so let me just restart because we're recording this just in case it does not come out too well. So we are at page 104 of the books of the Natsarim, chapter 10, verse 28. Could you read that again, please? Because it's so very important. We should read it again. Go ahead.
Know that, though I am here with you, I am not apart from he who inspires me. That which is in me is not separate from the Ruach of the Father, and that Ruach is wholly in me. I express the likeness of the Father, and contain his power and substance to the full measure. I am the Ruach outflowing from Yahuwah, given voice and form. I am the voice and word of that Ruach. I am of that Ruach, but not that Ruach.
All right, so for years, arguments have been raging as to Yahusha. Yahusha is Yahuwah. Yahuwah and Yahusha are in a trinity. And this simple verse should solve the problem. Know that though I am here with you, I am not apart from he who inspires me. And he's going to explain what he means. That which is in me is not separate from the Ruach of the Father, and that Ruach is wholly in me. Now that brings us to John 3:34. That should explain that. Ruach is wholly in me. John 3:34. And let me get it on the screen. Go ahead.
For he whom Yahuwah hath sent speaketh the words of Yahuwah. For Yahuwah giveth not the Ruach by measure unto him.
The Most High gave him the Ruach not by measure. So that's what he means in the books of the Natsarim when he says the Ruach is wholly in him. Let's go back to it. That which is in me, that means the Ruach is in him. So when it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Yahuwah, and the Word was Yahuwah. Then in verse 14 of John 1, it says, and the Word was made flesh. That means flesh came, and the Word was put into that flesh. That which is in me is not separate from the Ruach of the Father. So the Ruach of the Father was placed into a man. And that Ruach was not given to this man by measure. The Ruach was wholly in him. He says, I express the likeness of the Father. And this explains why he said to Thomas, as you see me, you do what? What did he say to Thomas? As you see me, you see the Father. Again, I believe our brains are so sleepy. As you see me, you see the Father. And the Christian said, yes, that means he is the Father. Let's go to it. That is John. Where is it? John what again? Is it Thomas or Philip? Yeah, let me get it down. Anybody find it? It's John. Oh, I can't find it. Is it John 16? Let me see where it is. Yeah, it's Philip. Not it's John 14. John 14, start from 6.
Yahusha saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. If ye had known me, you would have known my Father also. And from henceforth you know him and have seen him. Philip said unto him, Master, show us the Father, and it suffices us. Yahusha saith unto him, Have I been so long time with you, and yet hast thou not known me, Philip? He that hath seen me hath seen the Father. And how sayest thou then, Show us the Father?
So here he's going to tell us the same thing that he's saying now in the Shepherd of Hermas, verse 10.
Believest thou not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me?
This is what it means. As you see me, you see the Father. The Father, the Ruach is in him. The Ruach of the Father is in him. And the Ruach of the Father is one with the Father. Continue. Believest thou?
Believest thou not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The words that I speak unto you, I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwelleth in me, he doth the works.
So the Father dwells in him and does the works. So let's go back. I express the likeness. Let's go back to the Shepherd, the books of the Natsarim. I express the likeness.
I express the likeness of the Father, and contain his power and substance to the full measure.
I contain his power and substance to the full measure. And so that is where John 3:34. He that speaketh before the Father giveth not the Ruach by measure unto him. So he's given the full measure of the Father's Ruach. Then he goes on to say, I am the Ruach outflowing from Yahuwah. The Ruach outflowing from Yahuwah. And this is in the book of Revelation. Book of Revelation, which verse again? Revelation. Revelation, is it 5? Let me see Revelation 5. The Ruach proceeds from his throne.
Oh, the 7 lampstands.
Yeah. Revelation 4. All right, I think it's no to find.
Revelation 4:5.
Revelation 4:5. I think I have it somewhere else. Let me see. Yeah, Revelation 4:5. I was thinking of something else.
And out of the throne proceeded lightnings and thunderings and voices. And there were 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne, which are the 7 Ruachoth of Alua.
All right, so these are the 7 spirits burning before the throne. And the Lamb had these 7 spirits, Revelation 5, verse 6.
And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 beasts, and in the midst of the elders, stood a lamb as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 Ruachoth of Alua, sent forth into all the earth.
So the Ruach that proceeds from the throne of Yahuwah, it is the same Ruach that is in Yahusha HaMashiach. So when we go to the books of the Natsarim, that is what it means by I am the Ruach outflowing from Yahuwah, given voice, and form. So this is what it means by the word was made flesh. A man was given the full measure of the Ruach of Yahuwah. The Ruach of Yahuwah was dwelling in a man. Continue. I am the voice and word of that Ruach. So this is the word made flesh. And then he says, I am of that Ruach, but not that Ruach. What does that mean? I am of that Ruach, but not that Ruach.
He is of the Ruach of Yahuwah, but he is not the Ruach of Yahuwah.
But you have not explained it.
He is not the Father. He's saying that he come from the Father, but he is not the Father. So this is destroying the argument that he was the Father in the Son, as they have it to be one being or one person. But this is saying that he is separate from the Most High Yahuwah Sabaoth.
Yeah. What it is saying is that he has his own Ruach, but he is filled with the Ruach of Yahuwah. And being filled with the Ruach of Yahuwah, he is in the likeness. He expresses the likeness of the Father. And notice he said here, it says, I express the likeness of the Father. He does not say, I am the Father. He says, I express the likeness. And when you express something, you state it, you speak it. Yeah? You live it, you walk it out, you manifest it. And contain his power. So to contain something, so this cup contains water, but the cup is not water. Yahusha contained the power of the Most High. He was not the Most High. He merely contained the power of the Most High. And
the same thing with the likeness of a father and a son. The son is not quite like his father, but he has a very close resemblance to his father.
Yes. And the significant thing is, I am of that Ruach, but not that Ruach. This is what the world just cannot get, just cannot understand, because we had been brainwashed by the religion of Christianity. And as we say, when we come into the way, we merely think that we have to just shift a few things. No, the entire religion is turned upside down. Everything is twisted. There's a little truth, but wherever there's a little truth, it is twisted. Yes? And people have been battling with this thing, worshiping this man, when the word tells us that Yahuwah will not give his splendor to any man. And that Yahuwah is, let's go to a couple of them. Let's go to Devarim 6 verse 4. Deuteronomy 6 verse 4.
Hear, O Yasharel, that Yahuwah our Lua is one Yahuwah.
He is
one.
He is Echad. He is one Yahuwah. He is not two, nor three. Matthew 4 verse 10, worshiping this man. Matthew 4 verse 10.
Then saith Yahusha unto him, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship Yahuwah thy Eluah, and him only shalt thou serve.
And
him only shalt thou serve.
Him only shalt thou serve. Didn't say you should serve a man. Him only shalt thou serve. Exodus 20. Exodus 20, verse 3.
Thou shalt have no other Elohim before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth.
Verse 5.
Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahuwah thy Eluah, am a jealous Eluah, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments.
The worship of a man, of Jesus Christ, a man as Yahuwah, breaks this commandment, thou shalt have no other gods before me. It also breaks this commandment of making graven images and likenesses of things in the heavens above, because they gave us the likeness of a man in images, in pictures, and made us worship that man, having in our thoughts that that is what the man looks like who we are worshiping. So we have been deceived into worshiping this man. Let's go back to the books of the Natsarim and continue with the conversation. 29.
I am the fulfillment of men's hopes and the fulfillment of the Father's desire.
The fulfillment of men's hopes and the fulfillment of the Father's desire. Who can tell me something about that? The fulfillment of men's hopes and the fulfillment. How does he fulfill men's hopes? How does he fulfill men's hopes?
My understanding is that his fulfillment of men's hope is his sacrifice on the stake to strengthen or to reunite and to continue the covenant.
All right, hold on there before I go any further. Okay. He did not say, I will be the fulfillment of men's hopes. That means while he was alive and speaking there, he was the fulfillment of men's hopes. So you might want to fence up that. So, weed up and fence up that one. He's the fulfillment of men's hopes because he was the Messiah. They were waiting on a Messiah to come and deliver them. So in that way is the fulfillment of their hopes. And he also went and told us of what he came to do. He came to bring a light to Torah, to bring a light between men and the Torah, so men can see the Torah, and the Torah can shine on men so that men can walk in righteousness. So he is the hope of men. He's the anointed one, come to bring people to salvation. And how is he the fulfillment of the Father's desire?
He walked out perfectly. He walked perfectly in front of the Most High without spot or blemish. So, and like the Father says, like it says, what? In him I am well pleased. So there was no spot, no sin, nothing found in him. And I think in the books of the Natsarim, it says he retained the full power of the Ruach as well, that he was given by the Most High.
All right. So he fulfilled the Father's desire in that was 2 Corinthians 5. Second Corinthians 5. Verse 18.
And all things are of Eluah, who hath reconciled us to himself by Yahusha HaMashiach, and hath given to us the ministry of reconciliation.
This is how we fulfill the Father's desire. Verse 19.
To wit, that Eluah was in Hamashiach, reconciling the world unto himself, not imputing their trespasses unto them, and hath committed unto us the word of reconciliation.
It is through Yahusha HaMashiach that the Most High is able or was able to reconcile the world unto himself up to this very day, bringing back the world from sinfulness, from the sinfulness of Adam, to bring them back unto Yahuwah. Continue, it says, as I am,
so is the Ruach. As I am, so shall all his children be. For I am the pattern for all men.
All right, look at that now. As I am, so is the Ruach. As I am, so shall all his children be. For I am the pattern for all men. So look at that there. It's showing our requirement. Our requirement is, as we are, so should be the Ruach. This is what Shaul was speaking about when he says, this I say then, walk in the Ruach. And he said, do not be drunk with wine in Ephesians 6 or Ephesians 5, I think. I think it's 5. Be not drunk with wine wherein is excess, but be filled with the Ruach. So the significance of this, as I am, so is the Ruach. So if you see this separate, you're going to say, wow, that means he is the Ruach or whatever. But he says, as I am, so shall his children be. So we too are to be like him because he is the pattern for all men. So when you have a pattern, for example, what do people do when they have a pattern? When you're working and you have a pattern to work from. For example, you're building a house and you have a drawing of the house. What do you do with the pattern?
You trace it or you copy it.
You copy the pattern. So we are to copy Yahusha HaMashiach. We are to copy him. As he is, so is the Ruach, so all of us must be as the Ruach. And he went on to say,
I am emptied of worldliness in order to hold the Ruach HaQadosh.
Oh, here we have another strong point again. What is this? I am emptied of worldliness in order to hold the Ruach. All of these that we're getting here in this group are revision because we keep going over the same thing over and over again. So we must be able to understand this now. What does it mean to be emptied of worldliness in order to hold the Ruach? I think we looked at it yesterday. I am emptied of worldliness in order to hold the Ruach. There are a few verses that come to mind. Let's go to the Bible for that. Oh, I didn't even know that I didn't switch this. I am emptied of worldliness in order to hold the Ruach. All right, let's go to this one. 1 John 2:15.
Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him.
You see? I am emptied of worldliness in order to hold the Ruach. So if you love the world, then the love of the Father will not be in you, and there is no way the Ruach will be in you. Verse 16 of 1 John 2.
For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world.
So if we are holding on or loving the things that are not of the Father, how will his Ruach be in us? Impossible. Another one we looked at yesterday. Let's look at it again. But first, let's go back to what we are looking at in the book of the shepherd of the books of the Natsarim. I am emptied of worldliness in order to hold Ruach HaQadosh. That's what we're looking at. So let's go to Wisdom 1. Wisdom chapter 1. Again, we are doing these over and over again, so those in this who are here, who are listening to us, must get this. So, Wisdom 1, starting from verse 3. I am emptied of worldliness in order to hold Ruach HaQadosh. Read, please.
For froward thoughts separate from Alua, and his power when it is tried reproveth the unwise.
So as long as we have froward thoughts, we are separate from the Most High. No Ruach will be in us. Continue.
For into a malicious soul wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell
You're speaking too fast.
For into a malicious soul wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell in the body that is subject unto sin.
That is too slow now. So here's why you have to be emptied of worldliness. Into a malicious soul wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell in the body that is subject unto sin. And we looked in 1 John 2:15-16, and it tells us that all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life are of the world and not of the Father. No, the lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, and the pride of life are all the elements that lead us to sin. So the Ruach will not dwell in the body that is subject to sin. Verse 5.
For the Ruach HaQadosh of discipline will flee deceit, and remove from thoughts that are without understanding, and will not abide when unrighteousness cometh in.
And will not abide when unrighteousness cometh in. So if we go back now into the books of the Natsarim, he says, I am emptied of worldliness in order to hold Ruach HaQadosh. That explains it. You cannot be in unrighteousness and hold the Ruach. And many people say the Ruach dwells in them and they have the Holy Spirit to go to Christianity. Everybody has the Holy Spirit. Everybody. Not understanding that the Ruach will not dwell in a sinful vessel. We have to strive to walk out perfection, or the Ruach will flee from us. And we will believe we have the indwelling of the Ruach when we actually only have the presence of the Ruach. I am emptied of worldliness in order to hold the Ruach HaQadosh, and I am an answer to the Father's creative word. What does that mean? I am an answer to the Father's creative word. Notice he didn't say, and I am the Father's word. He says, I am an answer to the Father's creative word. So he's not claiming here to be the word. He says he is the answer. He is the word that is made flesh. In order to set a pattern for all men, in order to fulfill men's hopes, and in order to fulfill the Father's desire. Verse 30.
A pitcher half filled with water would hold less oil than an empty one. If wine is poured into a jar containing water, the wine is diluted. So when men say, what purpose does it serve to forego worldly pleasures? Tell these things to them. If they will not listen, then on their own heads be the illnesses and pains from which they will surely suffer.
All right, can someone start breaking this down? A pitcher half filled with water would hold less oil than an empty one. If wine is poured into a jar containing water, the wine is diluted. So when men say, what purpose does it serve to forego worldly pleasures? tell these things to them. What is that saying?
As believers, we can't serve two masters. We can only either love one or hate the other, or hate one and love the other.
Yeah. So this is saying you can't serve two masters. If you are serving the world, then you will be like the jar that you're trying to pour oil in that is half filled with water. And we know oil and water cannot do what? Cannot mix. So when you pour both of them together, they will not mix. They will separate themselves. So you need to, in order to pour in pure oil and get pure oil, you have to first empty it of water and dry it out. So you have to make sure that you remove all forms of worldliness from you before the Ruach can flourish in you. And it speaks about wine again, wine being diluted. So if we are striving to walk after the Father and we are partaking of holiness, then we cannot hold, even if the Ruach is in us, we cannot hold the full power of the Ruach. It will be diluted, and so the power of a Ruach will not be in us. So what purpose does it serve to forego worldly pleasures? That purpose is for the Ruach to dwell in us. And he says, if they will not listen, then on their own heads be the illnesses and pains from which they will surely suffer. What is that saying? If they will not listen, then on their own heads be the illnesses and pains from which they will surely suffer. Wow, is it so hard?
No, if you're serving two masters, then you're not going to get any deliverance from your illnesses or pains.
Yeah. And it is related to worldly pleasures as well. If you are partaking of worldly pleasures, then illnesses and pains will surely come upon us. All right? And case in point with this is like sports. Most of us, when we reach up into age, we have some form of injury that we got when we partook of the worldly pleasure of sports. Yeah? Some people with knee injury. I know so many people, even with deformities. I have a friend who walks with one foot straight, one foot bent in, just because of a tackle that his own blood brother made on him while they were younger. And he went and he played football, and he had a career in football. And it was when he got older and was done with football, the knees start getting worse and worse. Until now, even when he's riding a bicycle, he can only ride a bicycle with one foot. Has to have the bad foot hung off and just pedal with one foot. That's how bad it is. So the illnesses and pains come from these worldly pleasures that we go through. Verse 31.
The 12 said, "Great is the hope you have given us, and great is the inspiration of your words." Yahusha said, "I do not do this of myself, for I have been filled with the power of the Ruach HaQadosh, which is part of Yahuwah."
All right, hold it. I do not do this of myself. Now, if he was Yahuwah, he would do it of himself. But he's a man. So he's telling us, I do not do this of myself, for I have been filled with the power of Ruach HaQadosh. This is why Shaul was always encouraging us to be filled with the power of the Ruach. He says, which is what?
Part of Yahuwah.
Which is?
Part of Yahuwah.
So what is a powerful word in this, which is part of Yahuwah? Which word? Part. Part. So Ruach HaQadosh is part of Yahuwah. And what is the evidence? Let's go. to Genesis 1. Let's go to Genesis 1. But this thing won't move. Our resources. Man, it's taking a long time for this to move. All right, Genesis 1. Oh, computer getting slow, going slow. Genesis 1, verse 1.
In the beginning, Elohim created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void. Darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the spirit of Elohim moved upon the face of the waters.
The Ruach Yahuwah, which in John 1:1 tells us in the beginning was the Word. Yeah? The Ruach Yahuwah, it says in the beginning, Elohim created heaven and the earth. And then the next verse told you that the Ruach of Elohim moved upon the face of the water. Why didn't it tell us? In the beginning, Elohim created the heaven and the earth, and it says, and Elohim moved upon the face of the water. Why didn't it tell us that? Because the Ruach of Elohim is part of Yahuwah. The Ruach of Elohim is one of the 7 Ruachot that proceeds from before his throne. And he uses the Ruach to accomplish his work and his will upon the earth. Let's go back to books of the Natsarim. Read 32 again.
Yahusha said, I do not do this of myself, for I have been filled with the power of Ruach HaQadosh, which is part of Yahuwah.
Then read the next sentence.
With this he created all things.
See there, as we say in Jamaica, there it is. The Ruach HaQadosh is part of Yahuwah. With this he created all things. Go back to Genesis 1 and look at it. Go back to Genesis 1 and look at it. In the beginning, Elohim created Shamayim and the Eretz, the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Ruach of Elohim moved upon the face of the waters. This is separate. This is separate. All right? So let's go now to John 1:1. This is the Christians' bread and butter. Let's go back to John 1:1 and see how it matches up with what we are saying. John 1:1.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Elohim,
And the Word was Elohim. And the Word was with Elohim. Why was it with Elohim?
It was the Ruach.
It is the Ruach. And why was it Elohim? It is part of Elohim. This is what the world does not get. It is part of Elohim. So it was Elohim, but it was not the entire being of Elohim, because Yahuwah is so magnificent and so all-powerful. He's not restricted to being the Ruach. So, the Trinity again is debunked with this. Because the Trinity says the Father is the Son, is the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit, Ruach HaQadosh, is one of the 7 Ruachot. Let's go to Isaiah 11. Isaiah 11. Let's go to Isaiah 11. Verse 1.
And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. And the Ruach of Yahuwah shall rest upon him.
And the what?
Ruach of Yahuwah shall rest.
What is this Ruach of Yahuwah? Go back to Genesis 1. Go back to Genesis 1. Verse 2.
And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Ruach of Alua moved upon the face of the waters.
The Ruach of Alua moved upon the face of the water. And go to John 1:1.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Alua, and the Word was Alua.
Verse 2.
The same was in the beginning with Alua.
So what is that Ruach Yahuwah? What is that spirit of Alua? Ruach HaQadosh, the Holy Spirit. So go back to Isaiah 11 verse 2.
And the Ruach of Yahuwah shall rest upon him.
That is the spirit of Alua. All right? And it continues.
The spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and of the fear of Yahuwah.
What is this? How many spirits are these?
7.
Number 1, the spirit of Alua. 1, the spirit of wisdom. 2, understanding. 3, counsel. 4, might. 5, knowledge. 6, the fear of Yahuwah. 7. But where does this bring us to? The book of Revelation. Chapter, I always mix them up. 5 or chapter 4.
I think it was 5, 6.
Chapter 5 verse 6.
And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 beasts, and in the midst of the elders, stood a lamb as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 Ruachoth of Alua, sent forth into all the earth.
The 7 Ruachoth in Revelation 11 verse 2. These are the 7 Ruachoth of the Lamb. So let's go back to the books of the Natsarim. Read 32 again.
Yahusha said, I do not do this of myself, for I have been filled with the power of Ruach HaQadosh, which is part of Yahuwah. With this he created all things. I come that I may bring light to those who dwell in darkness, to bring to those who are on the brink of death a knowledge of life, and to bring consolation to those who suffer. I am the hope of those who despair, the helper of those who have no guide, the treasure of the poor and the healer of the sick. I am the light of eternal life for all who die. As I am, so must you be.
Man, read that last sentence.
As I am, so must you be.
So, if Yahusha was God, how can he be telling us to be as he is? That would be very, very grossly unfair. How can you, God, ask a man to be like you? Wouldn't that be impossible? It is not impossible because Yahusha was a man that had the Ruach of Yahuwah, a man who had the full Ruach of Yahuwah. And we couldn't leave here without going to John 17, starting from about 20. John 17, starting at about verse 20, to show us what this is really, truly, actually speaking about. John 17, let me get it on, 20.
Neither pray I for these alone, but for them also which shall believe on me through their word, that they all may be one, as thou, Father, art in me, and I in thee, that they also may be one in us, that the world may believe that thou hast sent me.
You see? We can be one with the Father as the Son is with the Father. The Father in us and I and us in the Father. Yeah? Because he says, as thou, Father, art in me and I in thee, that they also may be one in us. So we can be one in them. Which means that we and Yahusha are no different. Verse 23 says,
I in them, and thou in me, that they may be made perfect in one, and that the world may know that thou hast sent me, and hast loved them as thou hast loved me.
I in them, Yahusha in us, and the Father in Yahusha. That is how Yahuwah was in Yahusha, reconciling the world unto himself. Yeah, this happens to men. Yahusha was a man who had the full measure of the Father's Ruach in him in order to achieve the will of the Father, which is to reconcile the world unto himself. Continue.
Where? Continue where?
33, go back to the books of the Natsarim, page 105, chapter 10, verse 33.
Go, carry the good tidings without trepidation or fear, without respect for persons, calling all who listen to follow a path which is direct, narrow, and stern. Call them, whatever their circumstances, for each one will have something to contribute.
All right, start here. Go carry the good tidings without trepidation or fear, without respect for persons, calling all who listen to follow a path which is
Direct.
direct, or direct as they say in America, narrow and stern. What are these three words telling us? Direct, narrow, and stern.
It's not an easy road.
Yeah, more or less.
It's direct. So narrow and stern. So you can't fall off. You have to stay on track. It's also saying that further up it says, be not respecter of persons. So go and spread the word where it's necessary. And who would hear it, and don't divert, but make sure that everyone hear the word. Yeah.
Yeah, but we still have not spoken about the direct, narrow, and stern. Huh?
Go ahead.
The direct. What does the direct speak about?
It's direct. There's only one way.
That's it. Those two words. Only one way. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh to the Father but by me. In Matthew 24, Yahusha warned you about many messiahs. Do you think he actually means that many different people will come? Let me go there. Matthew 24, I think it's about verse 3 or 4, and he also did it in Matthew 24 again. Matthew 24. I think it's about 3 or 4. They are both are 4 or 5. No.
7 for 4.
Let me make sure this is the right thing. It's 4 and 5. Yeah, 4 and 5. Read it, please.
And Yahusha answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Mashiach, and shall deceive many.
So do we think it's necessarily only many different Messiah, like this is a different Messiah, this? No, he's speaking about different versions, different tweakings of him that will come in his name, that do not follow the way, the truth, and the life. The one direct path. So for example, Christianity comes. Yes, they come in a different name, but they come with a lawless Messiah. A Messiah behind whom you can more or less do anything depending on the denomination that you choose. Yeah? That is a false Messiah. But then, there are also people who say they follow the way, but they follow a false version of Yahusha. So some of them might tell you, all you need to do is keep the commandments. They say they follow Yahusha, but they do not follow the direct path. And that is what is important. To follow the path, which is, where am I? What am I doing here? The path that is direct. narrow. Narrow. So anybody who tries to make the path easy, that is false. And stern. Anyone wants to make it believe that the path is something that's so easy and nice and pleasant, and you know, you have to speak with everybody nicely at all times, and everything has to be, we have to emulate Hamashiach. Hamashiach had time when he spoke sternly and times when he spoke calmly. But the true way is a stern, narrow path. In another verse, he said it's austere, strict, rigid. All right? So we are to call people whatever their circumstances, for each one will have something to contribute. So we don't look on people and say, hey, this one looks like a true believer, or he will make a true believer. Let me call that one. No, you don't discriminate. You call everyone, whatever their circumstances are. Verse 34.
Then Yahuchanan said, Master, you have taught us many things and armed our wits. You have taught us how to act towards those who believe in your cause and those who do not. Yet even among those who most conscientiously follow your way, even among those who should be brothers, is found jealousy, pettiness, envy, and selfishness.
Now, this one is very interesting. Even among those who most conscientiously follow your way, even among those who should be brothers, which means they are not brothers, is found jealousy, pettiness, envy, and selfishness. Let's see Yahusha's response.
Yahusha said, These things are the challenge of life, and inseparable from the present rule of man.
All right, what is the test?
The test is your ability to change them. The corn will be gathered into the storehouse of the Ruach, and the chaff cast into the fires of transmutation.
So when there are brothers who are found among us with jealousy, pettiness, envy, and selfishness, the test is our ability to change them. Why? Because of the judgment. The corn will be gathered into the storehouse of the Ruach, and the chaff cast into the fires of transmutation. So if we, as believers, continue in jealousy, pettiness, in envy, and selfishness, then the end is being cast into the fires of transmutation. All right, let's continue verse 36.
Yahusha taught these things to the 12 in a manner different from his other teachings. There were many other things which may be told, but not all were heard with understanding.
Do that again.
Yahusha taught these things to the 12 in a manner different from his other teachings.
So there are people who are going to be taught heavier things because they can manage the heavy things. So there were many other things which may be told, but not all were heard with understanding. So only some people will be able to hear all things with understanding. Verse 37.
Kepha said, Let us partake of your strength, so we can withstand whatever is sent to test us. Yahusha said, When the test comes, it is never as expected.
It is
Never as expected.
Continue.
He also said, The man who says, I may be wrong, is always right.
Whoops.
The man who says, I am certainly right, is always wrong.
Wow.
To avoid a fight is not cowardice, and to fight with the assurance of victory is not courage. Weak men often fight, and strong men often run. Motive is all that matters. To judge anyone by their former actions is to judge unfairly.
Wow. Several, it's a mouthful. Yahusha said, verse 38, when the test comes, let me see if I'm on, oh yeah. When the test comes, it is never as expected. So the Most High will give us tests, and it will never be as we expected it. If it was, it would be a walkover. If it does, it will be a walkover. It's like when we go to school. When you go to school, you are given a curriculum and you are made to study the curriculum. But when it comes to end of term test, we don't know what we will be tested on unless the teacher cheats. You have some teacher who will cheat and tell you, okay, go and study this and that. But with all fairness of the system, they will not tell you what you are to study. And you will be studying things for the whole year. And then when you come back, it will be a surprise. I have heard some students say, they tested us on things that they didn't even teach us. Comes as a surprise. The test is never as expected. It's the same thing with us as believers. Usually springs a surprise upon us. Our eyes have to always be open, walking in the Ruach, to get the understanding. Verse 39.
He also said, the man who says, I may be wrong, is always right.
All right. The one who says, I may be wrong, is always right. The man who says, I am certainly right, is always wrong. What do you have to say on that one? What is the lesson to be learned from this?
Humility.
Humility. And by extension, humility will let us do what? Humility will make us never believe that we are always right. Yeah? Always believe that we may be wrong. As the word says, prove all things, hold fast that which is good. Always have our minds open that we may just be wrong. Then he went on to say, to avoid a fight is not cowardice, and to fight with the assurance of victory is not courage. So if there is a fuss or fight or whatever, and you avoid it, it says it's not because you're a coward. Yeah, it takes wisdom sometimes to avoid fights. And to fight with the assurance of victory is not courage. So if you're sure that you're going to win the fight, it doesn't take courage. Anyone who thinks they will win will play the game. Weak men often fight, and strong men often run. That's why you see Hamashiach. Many times Hamashiach ran when they tried to attack him. The Bible tells you how he fled and fled into Galilee. He no longer went into Jewry because they wanted to kill him and all sorts of things. And strong men often run. Motive is all that matters. Then it comes to this verse. To judge anyone by their former actions is to judge unfairly. And if we have space, this is what we need to put on the wall. This is one of them. To judge anyone by their former actions is to judge unfairly. Just stop dwelling on what people did in the past. Yes? To judge anyone by their former actions is to judge unfairly. Why? We are believers and we should be constantly changing. We should be transforming ourselves, pressing on towards the mark of the high calling. So while we are pressing on to the mark of the high calling, we will be changing. So we cannot judge people by their past. Judge them by what they do now. Verse 40.
Then while they were gathered about him, Yahusha said, now, who do you think I am? Simon
Shimon Kefa.
Oh, I can say the names, yeah?
You can say Simon Peter.
Shimon Kefa answered, "You are surely Yahuwah's anointed." Yahusha said, "You are rather rash."
Oh, this is not in the Bible. Let me see what he says. Go ahead.
Yahusha said, "You are rather rash, but as no mortal disclosure was made to you, wise also. Since your name means Arak, and you live up to it, I will establish foundations for the city of my cause upon you, and neither death nor evil shall overthrow it. To you I give the keys of this city, and the kingdom to which it is the gateway shall welcome you as a prince."
All right, so let me see. It's different in the book of Matthew. Let's see what it says. Matthew 16, 13. Matthew 16, 13.
When Yahusha came into the coasts of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, "Whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?" And they said, "Some say